We're going to talk about another superfood that you hear me talk about all the time, guys, and that is the chicken egg. It's a superfood because if you think about this, the chicken egg is a life, was going to be an actual living being if it was allowed to be, right? So if we didn't intercept it as human beings. So think about everything that needs to take place inside this shell to create that living being. It's really phenomenal when you really think about this and step back. And again, logically, why wouldn't this be a superfood for a carnivore? Logical sense, right? But what I want to talk about is what most people don't truly understand, that not all eggs are created equal, and the gap between one versus the other is way bigger than you think. And I'm going to break this down for you guys. And it's not about the color, okay? So this one here, the brown one, came from a box, a carton that this one came from, okay? So the colors don't mean anything. Where the real difference comes in is farm to table, straight farm to table, or mass manufactured like this one. So let me break this down a little bit more. So this right here is what most of you get in your grocery stores. Mass-produced eggs. I'm blessed to be able to go to multiple neighbors and get direct farm-to-table eggs directly from their chickens, right next door, directly from their chickens. Now, what's the biggest difference? Well, let me share with you some things that you might not be aware of. So when it comes to this mass-produced dozen chicken eggs from your grocery stores, this literally is allowed to go through a 90-day process, a 90-day window by the time it finally lands on the shelves at your major supermarkets. Think about that. The egg is hatched from the time it's at the farm to their warehouse, to their truck, to another warehouse, to another truck or two, to another warehouse, on the road, another truck or two. By the time it gets hatched to the time it gets to its final destination, they're allowed to have up to, or maybe even more, of a 90-day window by the time it gets to you and your table. Think about that. That's wild. So how is it going to keep its nutrients? How is it going to go from warehouse to truck to truck to warehouse to warehouse to truck? And mass-produced chickens, that means mass-produced food and fillers on top of that. Now, you take these eggs directly from my neighbor, and they're still dirty, you see them? Directly from my neighbor. What's the advantage? Well, they're feeding them cleaner. It's not mass-produced farm, and right from the chicken to our table. I mean, as farm to table as you're going to get, unless it was our, even if not even being our farm, we're neighbors. As soon as the eggs are hatched, they come right over to us, farm to table. Now, besides just what I told you, again, I don't speak in theory. I speak in real world experience, real world experience, real world wisdom. So one of the other things that a lot of people might not know either is real farm to table eggs directly from the chicken. Once it's hatched, you actually don't have to refrigerate them. Now, if you get farm to table and they did refrigerate them, I suggest that you keep refrigerating them. But you do not have to if they haven't been from the beginning. You actually don't have to. Think about that. Think about that. That versus your processed chicken eggs that need to be refrigerated. Thirdly, and I'm going to do a whole nother video on this, is when you look at the egg itself, once you crack the egg, when you see how dull this yolk looks, like a washed out yellow versus a bright orange. I'm going to bring this right back to your canines. Hang in there with me. So think about this. If you're feeding your dogs raw eggs, which most people do, and most are going to be coming from here, you're rolling the dice of the dogs getting sick because of all the different temperatures and all the different transitions in that 90-day period, 90-day plus period by the time your dog consumes them. So if you are going to feed the normal mass-produced eggs, I highly suggest, and I'm only suggesting what I actually do. What I'm going to do with these eggs, I'm going to feed them the Vitor, but they're going to get cooked. These guys here they don't have to be refrigerated. So think about this logically. How much safer is it going to be for your dog if you're going to feed them raw? Just crack it and put it in their food. 100%. Now, the washed out yellow yolk versus the bright orange yolk. Here's the other difference maker. When you cook these eggs, when you cook the commercial eggs, and if you scramble them and you leave them in the pan long enough, what happens? They dry out. Not these. They're silky. They actually don't dry out. They're silky. It's amazing. Now, if you're in a jam or you don't have the resources to get the farm to table, I'm giving you the second best option. And again, there's no theory here. I've done it. It's coming from my experience. Pasture raised, Vital Farms. Actually, this isn't the one that I highly recommend because I've actually done it and saw and tasted and saw how they cooked. It's pasture raised Vital Farms, but the ones that I recommend say organic. Now, I'm not saying it because it says organic. I'm just telling you that that's the difference I saw when I was traveling, so I couldn't get the farm to table. I tried them and I was recommended to them, and when I did, here's how I know it's real, because they were silky after I cooked them for a while and scrambled them, and the yolk is orange. So this is your best bet if you can't get your hands on straight farm to table eggs. So that's the bottom line here, guys. So when you're giving it to your dogs, remember, I bought these just for this video. So Vitor, my boy, he doesn't eat these on a regular basis, but I'm not going to throw them out, but I am going to scramble them, cook them, and then put them in his food throughout the week. But he will not get these raw. No way. Would he get these raw? 100%. No question about it. Would he get these raw? Probably not. I wouldn't take the risk. Probably not. I would probably still cook these for him. But anyway, I want you guys to know there's a huge difference between these eggs, and there's levels to this game. And look, at the end of the day, you hear me talk about this, whether you're talking about dogs and breeding or you're talking about food. Anytime humans get involved, they screw things up, right? You just follow the money. So mass-produced food will never be anywhere close to the farm to table. So just wanted you guys to be aware, a huge difference, especially if you're feeding it raw. Really be careful of this mass produced. I won't even feed it to my guy. So that's a little 411 on the eggs. Major difference, guys. Got to really pay attention and maneuver around the big food industries because they're not your friends, bottom line. So guys, smash this like button, share, subscribe, get this channel out there. We've got a lot more great info coming up on how to condition and how to feed your canines the right way, Mother Nature's way, bringing them back to their primal roots and their primal instincts, because that's our obligation. Thanks, guys.